Hey guys, welcome to TechBench TV. You've got Will here. Welcome to my bench. Today we're going to be looking at some Nintendo Switch Joycons. I want to show you how easy these things are to service. And they do have their set of problems. I mean, they have a battery in them, and eventually that battery is going to go bad. The joysticks are not the best. They're not Hall effects. They are resistive joysticks, and so they do have a problem with stick drift. And so instead of tossing them, it's possible to go ahead and replace the internal components, replace that battery, replace those joysticks. Just like everything I want to show you here on TechBench TV, I want to show you that these guys don't need to be thrown out, that they can be serviced and get a little more life out of them. All right, so without any further ado, let's get started. We're going to flip the Joy-Con over, and we're going to have a look at the back here. We're going to notice 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. And if we look really closely, these are a different kind of screw than you might be used to. This is what we call a tri-lobe screw. And Nintendo likes to use these on the outside of their consoles and their controllers because they're unique or different, and not a lot of people have them. But most of your precision screwdriver kits you're going to come across nowadays are going to have a tri-wing screwdriver, or a tri-wing driver bit available to you. Sometimes you'll find these kits online where you can purchase parts for your Joy-Con, like a new stick or a new battery, and it's going to come with tools. I would really recommend avoiding using those. Those guys there are not the best tools in the world. As the saying goes, you do get what you pay for, and so paying nothing for those tools are not the best and tend to cause more problems than they solve. So I'd recommend picking yourself up a nice precision screwdriver kit. It doesn't have to be expensive. The one I'm using here was about $40 on Amazon. I will link it in the description down below if you want to check it out. Down here, we've now removed those 4 screws, and that should allow us now to open the casing of the unit. And we're going to do so using our handy dandy spudger or pry tool. And so we're going to locate the seam, and we're just going to pop that open. As you see, these guys open very, very easily. Just a nice little click in each corner. There we go. And then that will come off nice and gently. Now, you want to be careful when you're pulling this off, because as you can see, there are 2 ribbon cables attached. So you don't want to give this any sort of hard tug. You want to be very gentle with those ribbon cables. And if we have a look here, we can see there's an antenna right there, and then our battery. So as you can tell, very easy to remove the battery. One of the easiest repairs, I would say, on any console is a Joy-Con battery replacement. We're going to come in down here. We're going to unplug that battery. There we go. Battery's unplugged. And this is for the Vibe motor. We're going to leave that there. We should be able to see 1, 2 screws there, and 1 screw there, which is holding that battery tray in place. So now we're going to switch over to Phillips head, Phillips sized 0, and we're going to remove those 3 screws that we can see holding that battery tray in. There's 1, and again, making sure we're organizing our screws effectively. We do not want to misplace or lose any of those screws. There we go. So it turns out that's actually a 000 screw. There we go. So there's our 3 battery carrier screws. That should allow us to gently lift out the battery carrier, and underneath here you'll notice another ribbon cable there. And so to detach that, what I've done there is lifted up this little locking lever here and slid that cable on out from that side. So now that leaves us with these 2 other locking levers accessible. So we're going to go ahead and there We're going to go ahead and gently lift up on that locking lever and gently lift up on this locking lever. Just like so. And that should slide out nice and gently. Just like that. And that leaves us with access to our joystick. So you can see here there's a single ribbon cable here for the joystick and then 2 Phillips head screws holding it in. So we'll gently disconnect that cable there. Again, using tweezers can help in this area just because it's such a tight and small cable. There we go, so that cable's now out. And we can remove these 2 Phillips head screws. 1. And 2. And those are both the same, so it doesn't matter which hole they go into. But that then allows us to gently remove our joystick. And you can see all self-contained, very, very easy to remove and replace with new Hall Effect joysticks. Now, I have already gone ahead and upgraded these to Hall Effects, so these are the new Hall Effect joysticks already. But if you had some new ones, all you would do is grab the new part, drop it into place here, and reattach it with your screws. So we'll take our 2 Phillips head 000 screws, hold our joystick in place. There we are, and install those 2 screws. 1 and 2. And then this little guy right here you're going to notice is a Bluetooth antenna. You can tell as it is connected to the main board here with an antenna connector called a coax connector. And that just literally snaps in place onto that little coax connector there. So we'll reinstall that now. There we go. So now we've got our new joystick in. It is very, very important that we reconnect the cable. Without reconnecting that cable, the joystick obviously has no way to communicate with the Joy-Con and will not do much good for us. Okay, so now we will need to reinstall our battery carrier. Let's start by reinserting these ribbon cables. There we are. So that is now connected, both ribbon cables there. Now we can reinstall our battery carrier. I want to make sure we're doing that in the right order, and we want to make sure that this little guy is in place first, as the battery carrier will sit on top and hold that in place. There we are. Drop our battery carrier down here, remembering very important to insert the ribbon cable for the shoulder button. This one's a little bit more difficult to get in there. Okay, button is connected, and now we can lay our battery carrier down. Making sure that that right bumper slides into place, just like that. There we are. You'll hear a little click there, and we'll make sure to slide our Bluetooth antenna back into place right there. And let's reinstall the screws for a battery carrier. So we've got one. I like to start up here on these ones just because the shoulder button is a little bit easy to fall out of place. So the quicker you get those two top screws in, the easier it's going to be to keep that still. There we go. And then one final screw here in the bottom of our battery carrier. Okay. Now that's all connected. Let's put this antenna back again. Make sure it's fully in there, and it does run. There's a channel over here for it to run through. Okay. Okay, so we've got our Bluetooth antenna run. We've made sure that our shoulder button's connected, our bumper's connected. We have made sure our antenna goes all the way through. We're going to double check our battery connection here. We're going to make sure that's connected properly. There we go. Battery is connected. And all the ribbon cables are in the right spots. Everything is plugged in. And then we're going to go ahead and snap on that cover. Okay, so we've got our back cover snapped on, but we don't want to reinstall our screws just yet. We want to make sure that everything's working. So we're going to go ahead and test this. And we're just going to push some buttons, make sure all the buttons are working, and we're going to test that by listening for sounds from our switch here. We're going to make sure the sounds are happening. So we're going down, up, left, right. So joystick is working. We've got response from A button, the B button, the Y button, and the X button, all looking good. Our disconnect button is working as well, looking good. Shoulder button's giving us response, and trigger's giving us response. So looking good. We've got response from all of our buttons. We seem to have a fully functioning remote. We can go ahead and reinstall our screws now. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I like to do is partially reinstall each screw first before fully tightening them down. So we're partially reinstalling all of the screws. 3, and finally number 4. There we go, and reinstall that. 1, 2, 3, and finally 4. And when you're tightening down tri-lobe screws, you want a lot of force into the screw. It's going to keep them from stripping out. And there we go. So that is our orange one. Our right one. Let's have a look at our left one, the blue one. So very similar in terms of opening. You can see we have the 4 screws on the bottom there, which are 4 tri-lobe screws. One, 2, 3, 4. And so this is the blue one. Again, grab your little spudger there. and open it up just a little bit. And again, we're going to be very careful because there are ribbon cables on that one side. Okay, so we've got the blue one open here. The first thing you're going to notice is that it's very, very similar to the orange one on the inside. We've got our vibrational motor down here, battery in the middle, trigger at the top, shoulder button. One thing you will notice, however, is that only one of the battery carrier screws is visible. In order to get the battery carrier out and access the joystick, which is in a different location on this model, we do need to remove the battery. So on the other one, we left the battery in the carrier. This one, the battery does need to come out. So the way we do that is we're going to take our spudger or our pry tool and very gently get in under the battery right here. And if we're very gentle, the battery should simply lift out. It's held in place with 2 pieces of double-sided tape. And once that battery's out of the way, you're going to see those hidden screws we were looking for. So we've got 1, 2, 3 screws. You'll notice they have a slightly gold color to them. That's so you can tell which ones need to come out. The 2 you can see here, those are actually for the D-pad or button pad on the other side there. They're holding that in place. So if we remove those 3 screws, the battery tray will come out and we'll have access to our joystick at the top there, just like in the orange one. It is held in with 2 screws and connected with a ribbon cable. So we would unplug that ribbon cable, drop in our new joystick, and away we go. So we're not going to dive too deep into this one since it's so similar to the orange one. I'm going to put that battery back into place, make sure it's nice and stuck. Then we can snap our cover back on and reinstall our screws. And just like with the orange one, we're going to partially install our screws first. And once we've got all the screws in place, then we can tighten them all down. There we go. And this one as well, we're going to tighten that one down partially. And then our last one here. There we go. Now that we've got all the screws in place, we can go ahead and tighten those down. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this deep dive into the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, and hope you understand that they are quite easy to repair. Any problems with them, no need to throw them away, they can be fixed. And I hope to show you that with a lot of things here on this channel. I'm going to try and upload at least once a week. Let me know if there's anything you want to see, if there's anything you want to see done differently or done better. And hit me up in those comments. I will read the comments. Please hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss anything. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This has been Will with TechBench TV. Take care.